Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Emergent. We had a little bit of some scheduling gremlins there interfering with our game, but we are back. We have found a time that works, and we are
Yeah.
when the producer
Oh, I
makes a
think we're
face,
back.
you freeze. Okay, we're back. You can
I
hear us.
visually can see. Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
By
No,
scheduling or by
you got
tech.
cut again. You dropped
Dropped
out again,
again?
Quinn. We're like you're like dropping in and out a little bit.
Just me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Let's just
my
we're good
fault.
now though, so it's fine.
It's my fault. My computer is hating me. I don't know. That has not happened to me before, but
Yeah, it's
apparently.
weird, but I think it's I
Okay. I'm also gonna not talk because you guys are gonna go around and introduce yourselves. So I'm done. I'm not speaking anymore because I'm making everything break. Someone else talk.
Okay, hi, I'm Steve. You can find me on the socials at Tall Halfling, sometimes Tall Halfling RPG. But tonight, I'm Aaron Frost, our photographer, who has discovered that any door he goes through may well lead to the same place, which appears to be um, his private little sanctum.
I will go next. My name is Chanel Lees. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm playing Jewel Madison Lynch, who is an all around all star athlete who has recently discovered that she can run as fast and as brilliantly as a shooting star, and she uses she, her pronouns.
Oh my gosh, hi. I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on all the socials except Blue Sky, that's VinVox.com, which is also my website because I'm a voice actor and tabletop performer. Tonight I'll be playing Roach, it any pronouns, shape shifting doll thing. We don't, high school's weird like that.
Puberty.
Yeah, yeah. And I am Quinn. I use any and all pronouns, and I will be all of the NPCs and also the monster that they are here to fight, and also apparently the monster of tech issues, because my computer seems to be hating me. So if I stop talking at any point, you all just, I don't know, keep going. Tell the story without me. You don't need me here. I don't even know what I'm doing.
I will say the captions kept working. Like Video Ninja was fine,
Incredible.
but like OBS has decided to be like weird. So you could just it's fine. We don't have to worry about it. It's
You
totally
don't have to hear me. You don't need to hear my voice.
fine.
Unnecessary, truly.
Oh no, that's not
Uh,
what I meant.
I am gonna talk for a minute because I'm gonna recap where we left off after our last game. We had left you guys. I'm actually going to recap the whole thing. I'm going to recap starting back from game one, where you were all so long ago, like 3 days ago in game time, when you were all just normal, average high school students who didn't have superpowers, who had a normal, average day at school, and then woke up the next morning to some kind of weird stuff. People seemed kind of tired. Everything was fine until you walked into a neighborhood that kept going forever. And when you walked out of the neighborhood, your bones were stretchy and you were glowing. And that was fine. And then you went home and went to bed and woke up in the sewer, as one does. And that was fine. You were chased around by a little spore monster thing that shapeshifted to look like you. But you realized in a moment of brilliant power usage, as Aaron summoned out of nowhere just pulled out of thin air a can of was it bug spray?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bug spray and a lighter, I think, was the combination there. And what you actually realized was when you stopped smelling like a person, the thing that was chasing you couldn't find you anymore and just kind of went away. You then wandered around in said sewers for a while because you heard the sound of noise that seemed to be people and footsteps until you saw a very large chamber underground with a plant like growth taking up pretty much the entire space, but surrounded by people who were just pouring into this chamber. As soon as you were spotted by the creature, it didn't have eyes, but it did open a bunch of eyes when it saw you, as your fears were manifest in this creature in reaction to you seeing it and realizing just how many people it has under its control. All of these people who had something noticeably moving under their skin, these little tiny microscopic little bead things moving under their skin, all turned and looked at you at the same time and in concert began slowly walking towards you as you realized that the monster itself was kind of pulsating at the exact same rate as your heart was beating. And that was enough. You were all out. There was a door, and Aaron can do things with doors, so you opened it and went immediately into your backstage, and then opened it back, trying to see where you would go, and went somewhere else into a very, very large library where you met a very interesting person who told you that there are people like you who have powers. That's just a thing. And they fight monsters. And you don't really have a choice because you have been infected by this monster. And if you don't kill it, you will all die. So a little bit of an ultimatum there. Just a teeny tiny one. If you value your life, you will try and kill this thing. And then you were gifted a guidebook. Looks something like this. Fancy looking composition notebook. And then sent on your way through a door back to your room. You don't have each other's contact information. I'm not even quite you just kind of learned each other's names. Like that is how new you all are to knowing each other. Uh, so you went through kind of a normal school day. Jewel was ditching out on your track responsibilities and went to meet up with Aaron. And we left in Aaron's room with Jewel flat on her back on the ground and some nice padding up on the wall that was entirely useless, but a really nice thought coming from Aaron. So we're going to actually pick up exactly there. Exactly where we left off. Jewel just having tested how fast you can go. The answer was very. You can go very
So
fast.
fast.
Uh,
Fast as fuck, boy.
um. So yeah, what is happening in the aftermath of Jewel hitting the wall and then hitting the ground?
I think Jewel is seeing stars because I I think if I remember correctly, I don't remember at all actually. I just remember that she ran and did not anticipate hitting the wall, so she ran at it like full speed. I think she's pretty dazzled and all she can really see is like maybe two or three of the paddings just kind of like floating around as she's like getting her bearing back, and then she just kind of like realizes that that's for her to land on, and she kind of like tilts her chin up to like look at Erin from where she's on the floor behind her, and just kind of goes, thanks.
Sorry, it's new. I'm quite figured out how to make it happen quite that fast.
No,
And
that's
he's gonna turn
fair.
off
I went faster than my own reaction time there. That's fair.
gonna quickly turn off the big photography lights that had supercharged the running way past anything he saw coming.
It did
Um,
work. It was a successful test. You did exactly what you were trying to do. Just
s-
a lot of it.
Sometimes test pilots get hurt. It's just how it is.
That's why we use
Uh,
crash test dummies.
so he's gonna offer you a hand and make sure you're okay. Or at least see if you're okay.
Yeah, she's okay. She's rattled, but she's not injured. Um, and she's an athlete. She's she's fallen and knocked her noggin up a couple times. But not to any permanent damage. Yeah, she's okay. I was gonna say something else there, but I decided not to.
Okay. Well, now that you have this information, I think this happened before. Now, this is my memory. I believe you had caught Aaron before he had gone into photography club.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, you do technically still have a commitment. You can skip, like, you're always allowed to ditch your responsibilities. It's high school, it happens all the time. But it is up to you if you want to ditch that or not.
Um, as I recall, he did at least check in with the advisor. He was like heading into the dark room, but ended
Yeah.
up in his dark room instead.
You are
Um,
still in the dark room. Yeah, yeah.
so it's not like not showing up at all. Uh, so should we get back and get on our way, or you want to? You okay to do any more practicing?
I think there's like around back in the weird corner of the school grounds, way back, like where there's maybe a garden plot that the principal thought would be a super great project, and then none of the faculty had the time or energy to maintain it, so it's just like a big box of weeds now just in the back of the building. There's like an alleyway, like a really long, yeah, just not really an alley like in the city, but a long, low traffic walking path area that doesn't really go anywhere anybody really wants to go. But I think that's the thing that Jewel immediately thinks of, because now that she's run and hit a wall in like a second because she's in a room, she's thinking, "Hey, Aaron, do you want to help me test this out at the long track out back of the school building? I want to see what happens if I do this without a wall in front of me."
Well, we can certainly try. Um,
Okay, hold on. And then I think she like skedaddles, doesn't really let him finish, and she's gonna go grab
um,
a
uh,
javelin from the gym.
well, in a moment. But getting out of this space requires Aaron in the first
Oh,
place with the
what
door.
happens when she opens the door?
Um, so I think he's worrying about if the advisor catches them sneaking out, and uh, need to get out of the school, outside the school, need to get outside the school, need to get outside the school. You walk through the door. It has always gone back to wherever you came from, except when the librarian hijacked things.
Hmm.
You walk through the door onto the playground, onto the like parking lot.
She doesn't like that. I think she opens the door. She walks out expecting to be in the hallway, realizes she's outside, like rewinds backwards, closes the door, and just kind of pauses for a moment. She didn't even really have the chance to register where she had been. She just knew it wasn't where she was before.
It wasn't a hallway, that's for sure,
No,
yeah.
so her brain went danger, and she went backwards. But now she's realizing it's just a parking lot. So she kind of looks at Aaron and she's like, "Is it okay if I go? Can I go? Is that safe?"
As far as I know, this is new.
kind of slowly opens the door to a place that does like, oh, it's a place that has a door. So it's like the side of the building that is
Mhm.
facing the parking lot, right? It's not just like a
Yeah.
door in space. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
You go out of another door. You are aware of where you are. You know you're still on the campus. And Aaron, this does feel distinctly different. Like when you went into the library, that door felt weird. Like you
Yeah.
mm,
knew somehow instinctively that that was not your door. This does feel like it's still your door. Everything feels correct.
Okay. He's going to take a moment, look around. I am guessing, mechanically speaking, um, the lights in this room are part of this room and can't really be taken
Yeah,
with.
they're stuck there. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um, but I'm sure there are floodlights out on the track for like
Hmm.
nighttime
Oh yeah, for
games and such.
sports events. Yeah, they need to be bright. You can tell how much
Um,
I know about sports.
yeah, so he's gonna follow along. Um,
Jewel is walking like uncharacteristically slowly now. She was very much like ADHD bursting out of the room before. That's why she got so scared. Um Now she's just kind of like almost cha- like a chastised child. It's just kind of like creeping forward and then kind of to the reality
Aaron's
check.
catching up from behind you,
Hmm.
um, and he's curious.
Curious about what?
Should not should ask first. I don't think he would. He's got his camera with him. Of course does because he always
Oh
does.
no.
He's going to take a flash picture from behind. Um, See whether you need to see the light for it to work, and
Huh?
B, what happens when you're not trying to go fast.
What happens when she's not trying to go fast? Is it voluntary or involuntary? Do I need to open the PDF or will Quinn tell me?
I think rules is written. It is voluntary whether you use your powers or not. Like you do have control by this point. It's a little
Okay.
bit involuntary at first, like when you're first getting them, and there can be a bit of an involuntary adjustment time. But if you want to say and flavor it that like unconsciously you start to like you take a few faster steps without realizing it because you are like these powers are still relatively new. They've come under your control enough that you can consciously control them, but again, it's been like 2 days. This is a new development in your life for sure.
I think as the did does he do it? Did he take the photograph already?
Yeah.
Okay. I think as that happens, Jewel is taking a step, and because she's walking so trepidatiously and kind of looking around to make sure that she's in the real world and not the weird new neighborhood they were in before, she can feel the sudden. The only way I feel like I could explain it is like if you've just done a workout with dumbbells and then you pick up your phone and all of a sudden your phone feels like it's like 100% lighter. Like it suddenly feels way easier to walk, but she doesn't visibly mm, get faster. She just kind of feels the ease of movement. And yeah, instead of getting faster, she just suddenly stops because the sensation is weird. So she whoa, and then she looks she looks at Aaron.
Sorry. Should have asked first.
No, no,
Okay, so
I'll get the javelin, and then she runs. Go ahead.
if I remember correctly, Roach just said "fuck this" and went to sleep. Like tried to get some Z's in the dark room. I think that's enough commotion or dialogue for him to try to get out of here. They are leaving the room, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, he's gonna take an advantageous beeline home out of here.
Yeah. I
um,
think that you exchanged contact information just with Jewel. if
Mhm.
I'm remembering that correctly. And if not, I'm saying retroactively that you did so that you
It
all
sounds right
can
to me.
have each
Yeah,
other's
there's a way
numbers.
of communication
Yeah, so
somewhere,
there's a
and they're all
line of
going.
communication. Jewel. I think because I think Jewel is going around collecting everyone's
Yeah.
numbers very intentionally, as in like, hey, we have a problem, we need to be able to contact each other. But yeah, yes, you can just beeline your way home if you'd like. Yeah. Do you have
Yeah, no, yeah,
anything
yeah.
you want to do with the rest of your day? Are you going home for a purpose or an end, or are you going home to collapse at home?
Yeah, I would love for my little bug, uh, affectionate, not actual bug, to get some sleep to work on the stress track. Uh,
Hmm.
because I am disoriented, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Oh no, I'm just overwhelmed.
Yeah, yeah. The only way to clear strain effects is with assistance from everyone else. But if you do get some, you can lower your stress by yourself. Uh, that you're allowed to do, but to get rid of like that particular strain effect, uh, you have to be you have to be together with your friends. You inspire each other in
Teamwork.
community. Isn't that cute? Teamwork.
All right,
But
and
yes,
I'll work on the stress track.
you can work on your stress track by taking a personal recreation, much like in real life, engaging in whatever you consider to be a hobby, which for Roach might be you go take a nap. um
Hmm.
I feel like that sounds on track for Roach is just like I'm out. Uh and you can while you're by yourself. There's a couple things you can I'm assuming you want to reduce stress. That's
Hmm.
what I'm guessing.
Okay.
No.
Athletic stuff in the gym. The plate, the lot. I don't know what that word is. I never know what that word
Gym?
is in the gym. But like the place,
Supply closet?
yeah, the like the
Kind
door,
of?
the thing, the big closet, the big deep closet. They're always deep. The big deep
Mm,
closet in the school gym. She's digging around in there. She's got the javelin already. Um, and I think she's kind of scrounging around, seeing what else she can get. There's not really much that makes sense for a weapon in there, at least not something that she's super familiar with. Something that would make sense for her to have that no one would like be like, why do you have that? Um, and I think she settles on a relay baton. I don't know why I can't say that. A relay race baton that she just kind of like picks up and kind of like slaps in her palm a couple times just to like, I don't know, test it out. I'm assuming it's hollow. I've never actually touched one. But I'm assuming it's kind of like a hollow, like a plastic or a metallic, kind of like a metal tube or something. I think she slides that into her backpack, and then she takes the javelin and tries her best to look casual and purposeful as she goes to where she left Steve so that they can go into that abandoned track at the back of the school.
mm. I'm so tempted to make you roll to look casual holding the javelin, but
I'll roll.
I yeah, let's
Yeah.
make your life more what is your suspicion at?
Suspicion is at 2 out of 3. Is that right? Should
That
that be?
sounds correct. I don't think anyone had hit their suspicion yet. So
Yeah.
just to see if you do, because that would be fun and funny if you did. Um, why don't you? Ooh, I'll let you do a couple of different things for this one because I can see
Ooh.
a lot. Like I can see stealth if you're trying to do it in such a way that you just no one notices you. Uh,
Mhm.
but I could also see like persuasion or deception if you want it to be more of, your presence, right? Like the attitude that you're conveying as you walk is one of pure confidence. Uh So even assertion, honestly, you're holding a javelin. You look threatening. Any of the presence skills would do. Or if your goal is to just not even be spotted at all, then it would be stealth.
I think so. So Jules Lynch, bleh, Jewel Lynch's Jules build. I can't talk. Is very to the body side more so than the mind side. Her being an athlete, so I think I'll go stealth. She's got a 5 in stealth.
Okay.
Not so
And it's
much
a
in
D8,
presence.
so you should be fine.
D8. That's this. That's a D10. Chanel. You can tell because it's got 5 sides on it. On one side.
And
Okay.
10 numbers.
And 10, I actually cannot keep track of the numbers. So I have to go by like look at one side and see how many is on one side. An 8. That's bad.
That's bad.
I'm like, what game am I playing? That's bad. It's so bad. That's
You're
the
so
worst.
D&D
So
vibes. It's great. Yeah. You are trying to take the path that you assume will not get you noticed. Like you're trying to like duck behind buildings and like go in places that you think you won't be seen. But what actually winds up happening is that one of the other sports teams, we're going to say the boys basketball team for no reason other than it's the first sport that came into my head. Like the boys basketball team is actually doing part of their practice behind the school in exactly the area that you walk past. It's a nice day, it's sunny, so instead of being in the gym, they're outside using the back parking lot, which should be empty at this time of the day, but it's not. So you just walk by with a javelin, and the way that that works is you take one additional suspicion, which
Oh,
does put you to your suspicion maximum.
so 3 of 3.
3 out of 3. The
Oof.
way
Okay,
that
that's
that
good.
works when you hit your maximum is I get to decide. I think I'm going to decide it that nothing happens right now at this exact moment. Um, the section for suspicion is just a big page titled "Something Bad Happens"
Ooh.
when you go over your suspicion limit.
Was she
Um,
supposed to have 2 of 3? I don't know if I understood that part. Like, I had her socioeconomic level be the one where her parents are rich enough that they could keep tabs on her. That automatically puts her at 2, right? Or should I have put her at
automatic puts her
1?
at 1, I think.
Okay, so she has 2 of 3 then.
Okay, okay, then you
'Cause
were fine.
I thought that you start with 3 of 3 and then you go down to 0 like hit points.
No, you build suspicion.
Okay.
So you're fine. So
Okay.
something bad will happen if you go over. And actually, I
Wonderful.
think that that's when you go over the number, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take it up to, so you can get one more suspicion to be fine. Darn, I really wanted something bad to happen.
Me
Especially
too.
to you. Yeah, I say to you specifically because you like having bad things
I
happen to you. I'm not
do.
mean. You did ask for this
I do. I asked for
directly to
these
my
things.
face.
Give me the
Okay,
bad.
so nothing bad happens to you right now. You're fine. You're chill. But you all now know how that mechanic works, that if it goes above the number you have in your suspicion, something bad will happen at GM discretion whenever it gives me something in my back pocket to throw at you whenever I want. But you're fine. You get a really weird look from the coach of the basketball team, but you're well enough known as being on the track team that he assumes that you're going to practice and you got lost or something. Like it's not weird enough that he's going to
Mhm.
stop you. So you make it to your little long stretch of empty hall. It's not a hallway. Empty walk space. That's what we're
Yeah.
calling it. A long walkway. What are you doing with the javelin now that you're here?
I think what Jewel wants to do, she wants to turn at Aaron and say, "Okay, here's what I want to try. I've been thinking about this as soon as like for as long as I realized that I could go really fast. I throw javelin, right? Okay, so I was thinking, what if I threw the javelin and then I ran and like I caught the javelin? Wouldn't that be cool? That, and she's like not thinking about the fact that that's very dangerous, but she wants to do that.
Just so I, Steve, am clear. So speeding up after throwing, or speeding up the throw as well.
I think she wants to throw it and then have you I think she wants you to act as though you were taking a photograph for the yearbook of her tossing the javelin, so that as it's leaving her hand, like it's an action shot, then that flash bulb will give her the speed boost to chase it and then catch it.
Yep. So I'm getting in place, getting ready to takes the action shot.
This is gonna be the coolest photograph you ever take. She gets in position. She's like, "You ready? You ready?" Okay. And then she throws it, and then she starts running before you take the photograph, but she's waiting for that like boost to hit her from the light.
And snap.
She shrieks after the javelin, and her intent, I don't know if I have to roll for this. I probably should, is to I don't know how to explain how to do it because it's not something I can really visually imagine. It's something that's like very like physical. I could do it, but then I'll have to stand up and then no one will be able to see me because I'll be gone. I'll be over there. But like as she's running, she like turns, starts running backwards, and she wants to catch the javelin as it's coming towards her. So she wants to be kind of like parallel to it and
Okay,
grab it as it's going
gotcha.
faster. Yeah.
Yeah, my instinct is reflex, but
Ah.
athletics also works. Honestly, so does. Well, reflex is specifically catching things.
Mm.
So reflex is technically the correct skill. I feel like mobility in general, it's all mobility related things, but reflex is your reaction speed and how well you can catch things. So I
I
am
think
actually going to
that's
make you
right.
go that. Yeah.
'Cause I think we've established she can run as fast or faster than the javelin,
Mhm.
but the tricky part is she
The
going to
catch.
catch it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the running is no problem. The tricky part
Mhm.
is after doing that running and stopping yourself, then timing the catch so you don't catch a part that's going to hurt you.
Yeah. Oh, she's not stopping. She's still
Oh,
running
yeah.
backwards, which is
Okay.
harder.
Oh, yeah, that is harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh D8,
Okay.
but definitely do roll for that.
Reflex. Come on. 4 under 5. Yeah.
Okay. Then you're fine. You just needed to pass. How you go ahead and you describe how cool you look.
I think Jet is in top form. She kind of does a silly pose because she doesn't know what she looks like and she's really excited. She does like the most photogenic in her mind photogenic pose before she throws it. So as she starts striding forward and she gets maybe like 1 or 2 steps in before the flash bulb goes out, and she's just really keyed in to like, yes, she's really excited, but she's the kind of um she has ADHD, and her parents figured out real quick that sports is how she could thrive through that because she's very hyperactive. um and that excitement allows her to lock into her form, and she hits this beautiful stride of just like her arms and her legs are like hitting the exact positions they're supposed to, and then the boost hits her and she feels this I don't vitality, this like peak athleticism that she hasn't been able to feel before because she's been trying her move. She's been falling over, she's been hitting walls, but now she is streaking down this track like a literal shooting star after this javelin. And she kind of has to reel herself back in not to pass the javelin. And as she turns, um, she kind of realizes as she's moving, and I think from her perspective, time feels like it's kind of slowing down a little bit in that weird time blindness way, but it's in a time blindness that she can control. She's like she's not manipulating time. It's not her power, but her perspective in time that's how it feels to her, that she's not so much going faster now that she's got control over it. Everything else is slowing down and she can focus on it better. And she can see the javelin slowly making its arc downwards, and she's kind of like in hindsight realizing how dangerous this is as she sees the point of it approaching her, but she still gets into position and is able to just pull it out of the air. And then uh she kind of like, I want to say she skids to a stop, and because she's silly, does like a Superman pose, even though she did not fall. She puts one hand on the ground, and the soles of her sneakers are like smoking a little bit because she skid to the stop, and she's, real items will still like get degraded by like grinding against the ground that fast. Um, and she's glowing. She's still shimmering a little bit, as like from her perspective she's seeing that like comet trail of light approach her and then shimmer away, and then she's in real time again, and she makes eye contact with Aaron, and then she just
Aaron's just
screams.
staring. Yeah. I think it takes Aaron a second to shift from just utter astonishment to whooping and hollering and celebrating the win.
As you guys are celebrating, I'm gonna do two things. The first one is roll this dice for no reason.
Uh-oh. Oh
Um,
God. Who saw that?
I will say in the back of Steve's mind, I'm imagining a license plate whirling in the middle of the path that you just took. I'm thinking Back to the Future. Uh,
um, so yeah, as you are celebrating and as I roll this dice for no reason, having tech issues at the beginning made me forget a little bit of my normal spiel at the beginning. I didn't even introduce what game we're playing.
Oh yeah.
This is Emergent. This is a horror game, and there's a content warning on this game for body horror. And that being said, Steve, can I have you roll a d6 for me, please?
oh dear, a
Yeah,
one.
right after the content warning. That doesn't mean anything.
Of course not.
Phew.
Certainly doesn't mean that we had to have the content warning before this roll, but it's a one.
It's a one. Okay. You are standing there celebrating. Both of you are like screaming and like, yeah. And all of a sudden, as you're standing there, you start to smell like sewer-y types of smell and like a little bit of a like rotten plant is the best way that I'm going to describe this. Like just really nasty kind of like combination of like sewer muck and like rotten decaying. See, you kind of stop and pause and turn to look at Aaron, and you see that kind of flash of the movement underneath his skin, even though it's the middle of the day and you're not in the sewer anymore. And it is kind of particularly on his face, uh, which you have seen before, so it's not like totally new, but you haven't seen it just like during the day.
Mm. I
And
don't.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I was gonna say like that like it is simultaneous, like Aaron is having this kind of like weird sensory experience as Jewel is seeing the movement.
I don't think Jewel has clocked that it's time dependent.
Hmm.
So I think she'll just kind of like stop, and then, Aaron, are you okay?
Do you smell that?
Does she?
No.
No.
Same stink from down there,
She
down
lopes.
underground.
She lopes back over. She probably already loped closer as they were hooting and hollering. Because I'm gonna just go like assume that the speed she was moving at and this how far she can throw a javelin, it was far too far to talk casually. So she's
Yeah,
come back over.
moving back. Yeah. The
Yeah.
smell only lasts for a minute, and as soon as the smell stops, the movement stops. So like Jewel, you only see that movement for maybe 60 seconds. Like it maybe lasts a minute. It's not super long. And then yeah, as quickly as you've smelled the smell, you don't anymore.
Hmm. We should she starts kind of like scratching at her neck, just psychosomatically. We should probably get a move on to dealing with that uh thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think she I think she saw or had an idea that Roach left. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, but it didn't really make sense to interrupt the scene to do it. I think as she was going to the gym and Roach was leaving, she turned around and went, "Roach!" He just kept going, or it just went. Yeah, it. Do they have multiple? Does it have multiple pronouns?
Yeah, it any.
It any. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So she watched Roach leave and called out to it, but they didn't turn around, so she was like, "Oh, okay." So I think she's gonna try to get his attention on a social media app or a texting app or something, just to be like, "Hey, we gotta regroup."
I do think when you get that text, you're probably asleep. But you can get it first thing when you wake up. Yeah.
New phone, who this?
Do they actually text that back?
Yeah.
Jewel, I keep calling her Jet. Wrong game. Jewel is going to call.
Hello.
Hi, Roach.
Hi.
This is Jewel. Um,
I couldn't tell.
sure. But we need to get a move on, I think. Do we know how much time we have?
No.
Yeah, uh, we gotta we have a limited amount of time. We should fix this. We don't know. She's trying to avoid saying like we're gonna die.
Normally I approach these situations with like
I
a
have a phone.
stoicism or sarcasm. Ooh.
Sorry.
Okay. I was like,
I was like, I have a phone. Why am I holding like I'm going like this and I have my phone next to me and then my camera froze.
you don't have to be like just a smidge more specific.
I feel like if we don't solve this problem soon, we'll die. Do they all know that? Do we all know that?
Yeah, you were the librarian, I think basically like as you were getting ready to leave was like, yeah, by the way, if you don't kill this thing, I can't remember if they said soon or if they said like within the week.
I
But
think
it was
so.
yeah,
My
it was
brain is
some
playing a
variation
keyhole.
on soon.
Yeah.
It was some variation on you don't have a lot of time. And I believe the exact information you were given was like once you are infected, there is no way to remove the infection other than killing the creature itself. And
Mm.
if you the course of the infection will lead to death. But you can also assume, I don't think they said it, but you can assume and infer that the path of that infection, like many infections, will progress and get worse over time.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming that maybe the copy of the rule book that the librarian gave us has a bookmark in the page about fatigue and how that works. So Aaron at least is aware that after a certain number of nights without a really proper rest, yeah, things get bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's a page in the book that says you need to sleep. Really, you do. That details the fact that your powers will stop working so well if you don't get enough rest.
Mm.
So there's a lot of urgency on this one. Uh,
Yeah.
no reason, but like maybe you should want to kill that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think we should wait until tonight to go back down there and get that thing figured out.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I can't afford a coffin, let alone a fucking obituary.
Obituaries aren't free?
Why would I know that? I don't think
Well,
this
I don't
quits.
know either. Well, God, you put up on me. And then she like texts, "Meet me at my house," and then she checks her address because she realizes they don't know anymore.
Yeah. It's just like the bubbles pop up and then like the address follows.
Yeah.
Just thumbs up reacts.
Do you
Okay.
want to come to my house, Aaron?
Um, I think he takes the address, and we'll join you there. He's got a couple of errands to run on the way.
Mm.
Okay, then we will have Aaron run his errands. First. And then we'll see if anyone else wants to do anything kind of on the way to Jules' house. So be thinking of that. But yeah, Aaron, what are your errands? Where are you stopping?
Um, so the two main things that he's looking for, and I'm not sure exactly what kind of store you'd end up at. Um, are number one, either firecrackers or the stuff to you know build basic things that go boom. And second, from like the garden center or something, as many cans as you can get of the specific weed killer that he was reading about, or maybe one of the jugs that you like
Mhm.
connect to the hose. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What is the wealth total on your sheet? Money is kind of a vague concept in this game,
yeah.
rather than like a fixed amount. But I am gonna say that you are gonna spend a little bit of wealth on gathering these things.
Um, I'm not sure I filled that in, but I believe he started at four.
Okay.
Um, Spent a couple on the first day for his starting equipment,
Yeah.
but
You should be in the 3 to 4 range.
yeah,
Um, and you're not buying ridiculously. I will say the big tub of pesticide is probably going to be slightly more expensive than just like a bunch of cans, depending on how many cans you want, that is.
yeah,
Uh, so I will say spend one or two wealth, kind of depending on how much pesticide you want. Uh,
okay,
Which probably depends on what you're trying to do with it eventually. Like if you're hoping to build a bomb out of pesticide, you probably want more rather than less. If you're just hoping to like put it into a super soaker and squirt it or spray it on yourself, you probably don't need as much. So I'll leave that up to you to decide how much you buy. And you can totally do that. You stop, you grab your supplies, anything else that either of the other two, if you would like to do as you go to Jules' house?
Uh, if I may, either retroactive or just sneaking into the school, possibly grab some gardening supplies. Maybe with the extra like theater key, just moving around. Maybe some shears, a rake. Um, thinking smart, totally in character.
Yeah, absolutely. We can say that you did that kind of on your way out of the school. It's fine to kind of retroact that you had the thought of like I should stop by and sneak these things out. And you spend no money because you steal from your school, which is encouraged in this game. And you can get there. We have established that there is a garden on campus, not that it's kept alive. So there's probably not good gardening supplies. They're probably a little rusty and not used that often, but they're there. They exist, and that's all you need. Uh, and then anything that Jewel is gonna do.
I think Jewel tries her best to go home at a time that makes sense for having actually gone to her practice.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think I don't think she goes to practice because that would raise suspicion of just like why were you so late?
Hmm.
I think she just doesn't go and No, I take that back. I think she does go, and she tries to play it off. She doesn't volunteer a lie, but I think her coach would, of
I
course,
think you did lie your
ask.
way out of
Oh,
practice
is
at
that
the
what
end of last
happened?
time. I do think you successfully lied your way out of practice. That's what I remember.
Oh, okay. So so she lets that stand. She doesn't go back. She I'm gonna assume it's a kind of lie that she would set up that it doesn't get back to her parents, so she doesn't have to
Yeah.
lie twice.
Yeah. We could be
Um,
totally breaking our continuity here, but I remember that I think
maybe.
you lied your way out of practice.
Yeah. And uh what was I about to say just now? I just left my brain and it's coming back and I'm gonna grab it with my hands and put it in my head and she's going to and my camera's gonna freeze and she is going to go home at the appropriate time for having been at practice. She's going to try to adhere to the normal routine, greet her parents, try very much to make a normal amount of eye contact with them, try to stay cool, try to stay chill, and then broach that she is going to after dinner go for a jog and hope that her parents do not take issue with her going out alone after the sun is starting to go down. And if they do, she's going to then say, "Don't worry, I've made two new friends at school. They're coming over to jog with me. They want me to help them get their fitness up." But she's not going to say the whole lie at once because I think Jewel is clever enough that she knows the less you say about a lie, the better the lie is. If you volunteer a whole bunch of information, it kind of breaks the lie up.
Go ahead and I will make you roll persuasion or deception for that, whatever you would like, kind of based on how much information you're giving them about the lie. It is your parents, so it is family, so it's
Mhm.
not it's still gonna be a D8. It's not it's going to be the average difficulty to do. It's not
Mhm.
gonna be any harder. Uh,
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I think I'll do persuasion, not
mhm,
simply because I have a 4 in it instead of a 3, but I
yeah,
think like the best lie is the one that's half true. So I think she
yeah,
really is like she is telling the truth about
mm,
Aaron and Roach
yeah,
coming over and them needing her help.
yeah.
You said a
Very true.
D8? Yeah.
D8, yeah.
3 under 4. Hey.
Okay. Yeah, your parents don't question that too much. And it's not like it's like night like you're not asking to go out at midnight or 1 a.m.
Mhm.
Going out after dinner would still be a okay and reasonable time for you to be out. So that's fine. They do
Okay.
say that they want you, like try to get back before it gets too late kind of, but other than that you're fine.
I think hearing that her heart sinks a little bit because she knows that she won't, but I think she kind of consoles herself
Mhm.
that not dying is better than getting grounded. She's gonna just have
True.
to eat those consequences when she comes home super late and covered in mud.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think actually, your parents do express a little bit of concern, and not. I don't want to play this whole scene out simply for the sake of time, so I'm just gonna tell you what they tell you.
Mhm.
Which is, yeah, they do want you home before dark, partly because there have been some. Mostly, it's people posting on Facebook. We are still in the era where Facebook constituted as like news. For some
Yeah,
people, it still does. Uh,
yeah. Not
but
in
this was
Canada,
back
that's
when yeah,
illegal.
yeah, yeah. Uh, this was back when Facebook was newer because this game does take place in the early 2000s. So Facebook is like this newfangled thing. Um, but there are some people who have been posting on Facebook that like their relatives or their kids have been having hallucinations.
Mhm.
And there's a kind of like something's in the water, something's in the air vibe go around that could be entirely conspiracy theory type of posting. But your parents are kind of like, "Oh yeah, we've heard from, we've seen multiple different people say that there's like something in the water. So just be careful."
Oh, and she tries to be the normal amount of concerned about that. And she goes, "Oh, I'll just use the Brita when I fill my water bottle. It's fine."
Yeah. And your parents, yeah, they're like, yeah, yeah, keep doing that. Absolutely perfect.
Mhm.
And then yeah, just come back before it gets too dark.
Okay,
And
yeah, 100%.
totally, yeah, you're totally planning on that. Um, and then are you gonna just like go to your room and hang out till everyone gets there?
Yeah, I think she kind of like she changes clothes. She puts on what she normally would for jogging, but
Mm-hmm.
then she also kind of puts on, oh, how does she get this to fly? I think she she packs a backpack with her galoshes and a rain slicker, and she throws it out the window and hopes her parents don't see, and then goes downstairs, and it's like, I'm gonna wait outside for my friends, and goes and gets the bag from
The bag.
under her window,
Mm-hmm.
and then goes and sits out on the front porch.
Okay.
Well, she has the bag still out of sight actually,
Mm-hmm.
but she goes to sit on the front porch to wait for Aaron and Roach.
Perfect. Then yeah, I'm gonna say for the sake of fun timing, uh, with you know, I'm in charge of the world. Whatever I want to happen can happen. That Aaron and Roach are gonna arrive at like exactly the same time. So you both get there, whether you walked, biked, took a car. You both arrive at Jules' house and see her sitting on the front porch.
I think Jewel
And Aaron is
immediately stands up
carrying
and walks over.
a, a, a bag of what look like firecrackers, and he went with a big jug
Big
of weed
jug.
color because he figured buying one jug is less suspicious than buying every can they've got.
That's very true.
Hmm.
You're correct. Um, as you're walking up, actually, can I get Roach to give me a d6 roll, please? Two. Okay. One and then a two. Very fun. So as you are, this is a roll low game, so you're rolling low, and that's better for you. As you are walking up, you just get kind of this like weird taste in your mouth. It's sour and again, like it tastes like you ate something just like kind of rotten and sour. And the others who are around see under its face there's some movement. Uh, and Jewel, if you hadn't already, you definitely kind of are starting to put together that potentially the hallucinations that your parents mentioned is something being caused by the monster. Because hallucinations don't have to be visual.
Oh no, tactile hallucinations.
Oof.
Those are fun.
Mhm.
Ooh. Ooh.
Am I missing something in the
Sorry.
air? Because I I don't know if I walked into something. Something is just not happening in the mouth region for something. Yeah.
I was having that earlier.
Oh no. We should go. Let's go.
Yeah, please. Eh, eh.
Jewel is like really like nervous that she's gonna be the next one to smell a stinky thing.
Yeah, it only lasts for again about a minute, like it is not currently lasting for that long. Again, progression. If you're putting together pieces, you might be concerned that that's only going to get worse as time goes on.
Yeah.
Uh, where are you going? Are you thinking of just heading immediately back down into the sewer?
Yeah, I think Jewel was looking to like go to the nearest culvert. Is that what the word is? Where there's like a grate and a hole and like a ditch, and see if there's like, I think she doesn't know how to get in because she's never gotten in consciously,
Yeah.
but I think she
Yeah,
just wants to go
shockingly,
to the
you've never
nearest.
gone to the sewers
Right?
before as a high school student. Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird, yeah.
crazy. That's where all the best parties are apparently.
Hmm. Mm. I also want to ask who is the holder and keeper of the book? Because I believe it was given directly to Aaron. Have you held on
Yeah.
to it the entire time?
Unless anybody else wants it, I think he's holding on to it.
Okay.
Especially as he's reading the sections about crafting and making weird things.
Yeah. So I will say you did when you got the book notice, you had asked the librarian kind of like, why can't you give us more help? And they did say, if you remember, something to the extent of, who's to say I already haven't helped you? And you realized kind of once you got out of there, you did mention it earlier that there are bookmarks on certain pages. Uh like here. They weren't so obvious, like they weren't noticeable. They were in the book, so you didn't realize until you flipped the book open that there were pieces of paper on three particular pages. One was the one about sleep, telling you how important sleep is. The other two bookmarks, just to give you the full information as you're getting ready to go into this, one of the bookmarks was on a page that was talking about that all monsters have weaknesses. Essentially, what the book explains is that, and you can say that you read this information out loud and kind of share with the class, you share with the group, that monsters are coming through from another dimension. They have sort of ripping into ours, which is being caused because of you know the government experimenting and fucking everything up for everyone. They've kind of weakened the barrier between these two dimensions, and monsters come through. But these monsters are not used to living in our world yet. They're not used to having solid, full forms. They're used to kind of existing as more of a concept. So, in the immediate aftermath of them coming into our world, they are weak. They are weak to certain things that exist in our world. You probably, as you read that, put together, oh, yeah, it stopped being able to smell us when we smell different. That might be something that is a weakness, is we can hide and conceal ourselves up to a certain extent. You also remember that when you were doing that, you weren't really moving around a bunch. You smelled bad and were fairly still. And it seemed like that combination meant that you weren't detected. The one thing that the little composition notebook stresses a lot is that you need to know a monster's weakness in order to kill it. Sometimes it says they will be very intuitive, sometimes they will be very esoteric. Uh, the other bookmark is on the crafting page, which you've already mentioned, which has blueprints and details. There's more information in here about how to build a bomb than the average high schooler should have access to.
Mm.
But you're not necessarily average high schoolers anymore. So you kind of, you look at that page with maybe a little bit of concern for like, that's telling me how to build a bomb, like just a bomb. Uh, so
Well, I mean, I
you,
think
yeah,
Aaron's used to reading the like caution labels on the
yeah,
chemicals he uses for
yeah,
photography. You know,
yeah.
so it's sort of
Same
a
thing. Say, you're
all
you're
those
used to
things
not
that they
making
have
things
been
blow up. Yeah.
all those things they have very carefully taught us. Do not do this. Do not do that.
Mhm.
Well, what if you did?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason why all of those caution labels are on there, actually. They're there on purpose. Uh so yeah, if you want to ignore those caution labels, you feel actually like you are probably, given that, particularly equipped for bomb making because you know how to not make an explosion, which means if you just do the reverse of what you normally do, you could make an explosion. And you remember that this thing was pretty big.
Mhm.
So if you just want to blow it up, that's a great way of dealing with your problems in this game.
Well,
Maybe
and
in
then
other
I
places
also
too, but particularly in this game.
I also just kind of reflexively
Mhm.
built a well, didn't build, just like manifested an explodey thing the last time we met it. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you
now it's
did
starting to make
note
sense
that
why
the
he's able to do that.
reflexive thing, yeah, the reflexive thing that you made and manifested. Like you definitely did damage the creature the last time that you interacted with it. The other bookmark that's in here, actually, I lied. There are four. The other one is smaller, and you didn't notice it at first because I forgot about it. Is one that lets you know, conveniently, given what you've already been messing around with, that creatures and monsters will tend to be in dark places. They do not like light. Makes sense. It's hiding underground in the sewer, but if you light doesn't necessarily like have a particular weakening effect on it. It does different things to different monsters, but 98% of them don't like light. Some of them are fine with light, but this one is in the dark, so you know, it logic goes to assume that it probably is not the biggest fan of bright light.
And it has a
So yeah,
lot of eyes.
it has a lot of eyes. You could poke it in the eye. Uh, so yeah, that is kind of the information that you share. I'm assuming, unless if Aaron doesn't want to share, Aaron can be the only one who knows that information. But if you want to just say you share that with everyone, then that is what you all know about monster hunting. There's a lot more stuff in here. It's a pretty hefty little composition notebook. It's not actually this big, uh, but it is a pretty hefty little composition notebook. But that's you have a feeling the librarian did kind of give you the high points,
Yeah.
just to make it easier
Um,
for you.
so he explains what he's been reading. Happy to pass the book around if anybody else wants to take a look. Um,
I think but not Jet. Jewel kind of like flips through it really quickly, but I don't think she latches onto anything in particular um other than I think they've probably talked about the weakness, or they've like pieced together already the weakness. Like she knows that it's weak to like smell being different and motion.
Mhm.
Um so I think she's more so just like over like generally interested in the book as it exists, but it's not really gleaning any specific information about it, and then like passes it quickly to Roach.
Yeah. Really quickly, as you're looking through it, I will add one or two things to what you are seeing. One is you do know that monsters normally have multiple weaknesses, so you have found one. That does not mean there are not others. You don't necessarily need all of them to kill it. But it's usually does have more than one. And just in general, the thing that you glean from looking through the book is it appears to have been written by multiple different people. They all kind of write in their own unique voice, and you do see like a page of them introducing themselves that they are other high school students who have powers. Uh, None of their powers, I don't make sure I don't say that incorrectly. I am almost positive that none of their powers sound like yours. Uh,
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
no. Yeah, their powers all sound very different than yours.
Hmm.
Um,
There's one that could do like light and like shadow, the void one, right?
yes, there's one that is able to make light uh
Uh-huh.
kind of appear like little they make light appear out of their hands.
Mm.
Um so there's a light based power a little bit, which is probably the closest to you, but everything
Hmm.
else sounds like what they can do is completely different than what you guys can do.
I think Jewel finds that piece and points and goes, "This one's like me."
And then you
My
pass
mouse
the
is
book
being
along.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a mouse.
To which he goes, "Oh, good for you," and just pushes the book back. Um, what I'm getting
Oh,
is we just blow this thing up, right? Just.
and not us. Just the thing. Not us and not anybody else.
I mean, I've heard of casualties in like war, so I'll keep it to a minimum. Is what
Aaron
I'm
is the
saying.
only one that blows
Is
things up.
on purpose.
On purpose. No! Don't blow anything up
God
by
forbid a girl
accident!
can't have any fun. Wow.
Well, but you don't. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna blow anything up. I'm gonna throw my javelin.
I mean, I could have just made you a javelin.
What do you mean? Out of what?
Uh, and not for like the actual intended purpose, but does like a quick arm motion, and that porcupine quill, that weird quill comes out.
No, it's not a javelin. I don't know what that is. She like holds up her
Okay,
javelin.
just
It's
didn't
like
pay
very much
attention.
a regulation sport javelin. She's holding in her right hand. This is a javelin.
With the same intensity, just snaps it in half and just tosses it in a direction, like a throwaway gag. Don't worry, I can make more.
That's actually useful. I don't. You can keep them, but that's do that. Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that.
Okay.
That's better than blowing stuff up. I think maybe.
While we're having this conversation, assuming that it's okay with Joel, uh, Aaron's gonna, I guess, duck into the garage. Uh, Seems like a safer place than outside in the yard to start working with some of this stuff. And
Ooh,
if his new friends are talking about him blowing things up, he better get ready to blow some things up. So
is there a way to get into the garage without making that really big garage door noise? Because otherwise, like Jewel would have been like, "Hey, we're gonna work on a school project, science project," but like they were gonna go on a jog. Like, is there one of those like side doors in the door? They're
Yeah, we can
rich. They're
yeah,
wealthy.
there's a side door, and I can say you opened the side door, like, in anticipation. I'm let you guys retroactive so much stuff. I'm being so nice to you all. Partly because I'm also doing gross, creepy things to you. Uh, so yeah, you could have opened the side door ahead of time in anticipation, and you kind of sneak in through the side door. Um,
I'll give you a complication. I think they have one of those security systems that goes garage door open when she opens it. And I think one of her parents is just kind of like calls her name and it's like,
mm,
we're just getting I don't know what specifically she would say. What do they need in the garage? Just like, yeah, we just need a second and then we're gonna head out. We're good, we're fine. But now her parents are aware that they're in the garage.
mhm, yeah. Okay, so you might have limited time to stay here,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm assuming Aaron is going to try and build an explosive, is the vibe that I'm getting. I did specifically tell you that you do kind of know how to do it.
mhm.
Um, so let's craft something. Let's build a bomb, guys. Uh,
Build a bomb workshop. Woo.
yeah. Not really. Twitch don't kick us off. Um,
In Minecraft.
yeah, build a bomb in
We're
Minecraft.
making TNT in Minecraft.
Um, Let me open to the bomb page, partly because it's fun and pretty and looks like an
Mhm.
actual like blueprint. I want to hold it up to the screen and show it off.
106.
Blueprint explosives. It looks like that.
Ooh.
So it's fun little blueprint.
Yeah.
Looks like a blueprint. What? So the first thing we need to decide, choose one of the following explosives to build. Uh, there are different sizes of explosive that will then do different amounts of damage, and also be different amounts of difficult to build.
Yep.
What size explosive are we thinking about making?
Um, I'm kind of thinking, given um, limited resources, thinking probably small. Um, Judging by other kinds of weapons in the book, small seems, you know,
Yeah.
achievable.
Yes,
Um,
you probably could not build a large explosive in this garage with what you
yeah.
have. I will say you can also like gather some other components. It's you're in a rich person's garage. You can gather some other components from around the garage. You're like, they're not gonna miss that handful of nails. Like, not that you would put nails in an
Um,
explosive. I don't know why that's what came into my mind. Uh,
so maybe it's in the garage, or maybe he's using his poof. I have a thing in my
mhm,
hand. he's thinking about a museum exhibit that I saw a few years ago about some of the most dangerous toys ever mass produced. He either finds or poof makes um, about let's say half a dozen lawn darts,
Very
um,
nice. Very nice.
and he's gonna crack them open and build a boom inside. Um,
Nice.
what I'm hoping to do, because this game also lets you add mods,
Yep. Yep.
um, like to add two
Okay.
elemental, which
Okay.
seems like the most reasonable way to make a bomb also deliver the weed killer.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that would
flash,
do.
which basically just
Yeah.
means there's stuff in there that's going to burn and make some nice bright light for Joel.
Yeah, very nice. So the way that works, you're making a small explosive, which is complexity 1. You are then adding mods. Each mod increases the complexity by a listed amount. Elemental increases it by 1, and Flash increases it by 1. So you're at 3 complexity. Um, when you craft explosive, you may roll science or creativity, and you can make as many explosives as you have components for with the same roll. Uh, we're kind of skimming on components as a mechanic because of time. I'm gonna go ahead, but it only takes one component to make a small explosive. Like it's not complicated to make a small explosive. Today on sentences I never thought I'd say. Uh, so
It is
you
not
can
complicated to make a fictional
fictional,
explosive, which is not going to do
yes,
any damage and will not violate any terms of service.
yeah, exactly. You said it better than I ever could. So I will say that you can make. You don't have that many things on you. Why don't you go ahead and actually roll to see how much stuff you can find around. I'm gonna make you take the search action to kind of search through the garage. You can do this, or someone else can. I will say, Jewel, how familiar are you with your garage? Like, you might be better at this since it is your garage.
I think she's pretty familiar. I don't think either of her parents are I think they just have like the basic things on like keeping up with home maintenance. I don't think her parents
Hmm.
are very crafty. So I
Okay.
don't think it's the junkiest garage, but there are things there and I think it's well organized and she knows where the things are. She just might not know like what are we looking for exactly?
What you're looking for is components, which are vague. You can describe what they are in as much or as little detail as you'd want. You're looking for things that could help make more bombs,
Okay.
essentially. So the way it works is just you roll a perception or streetwise at a D8 difficulty and see what you find.
Okay. And
Does it
I would
matter if
argue
does it matter if we end up with a crit, or is it just about success and fail?
For the search,
Yeah.
yeah, it matters if you end up with a crit, yeah. For
Okay.
both the search and the crafting.
I was gonna say because using perception or focus, I'm assuming this is a D8.
Yeah, it's perception
This
or
is not combat.
streetwise.
Perception or streetwise. Okay. So yeah, definitely perception. Um, so I'm rolling a D8, and I have to roll an 8 or below.
Ah.
I get a 3, so it is in fact a crit.
Okay. Very nice. On a crit, basically, you just find more of what you're looking for, and you can have one additional kind of benefit. So, I'll say you do it quietly because that is of importance here. That you're not being heard rummaging around through this garage, and you find one additional component than what you were looking for, which means I was gonna say you could make 2 bombs, but I'm gonna say you can make 3.
was
Uh,
was that an Aaron rolls or a Joel rolls or could they both roll?
You could both roll, but since
Okay.
Aaron crit,
I just got a 1.
did you also crit?
Yeah, I got a 1 under 7.
Oh my goodness. Make all the bombs you want. No,
Hell
you
yeah.
can't do that.
No.
I will say for you rolling and critting, what are you thinking for weapons for Jewel? Like what is you have your javelin. I'll say if you want to, you could find something to mod your javelin with, and I'll kind of just let you do it for free. Uh, don't you love what happens when we're running short on time? I just let you guys be cool.
Real cool. Let's go.
Really cool.
Can you remind me what kind of mods would be feasible?
Yeah, I was just going to. If you want to look in the rulebook, it's page 104.
Okay,
It
perfect.
has
The
the basic
112 in the
mod
PDF.
list. Ah, that's right. I'm holding a physical book in my hand, not looking at the PDF. So thank you so much. But it could be dealing more damage, gaining armor piercing, uh, lancing, which is just a fun thing to say and sounds fun for a javelin. Um, so I'll say because you crit, yeah, you find something and you're like struck with inspiration for like, I could just tie this onto my javelin and
For those, you can.
I'm not sure what the like projectile.
Mhm. That is
or recover one component after crafting the item. So basically, you don't use, which actually could, potentially work perfectly. Yeah, you don't use all the lawn darts.
yeah.
So you give one to Jewel, and Jewel crafts the lawn dart javelin. I was trying to think of a mix of lawn dart and javelin as like one word, but
Lawn
I
javelin?
didn't. Lawn javelin. There we go. That is it. That's still two words, but that's better than what I said. The lawn javelin.
Java dart.
That's better. I like that. The Java dart. Um, anything anyone else wants to do in this garage? This sounds like this is your guys' crafting time. This does take a little bit of time, like you are fully making explosive devices in this person's garage, and so this is going to take a little bit of time. But sounds like this is going to be it sounds like you are gearing up to go into combat. Is the vibe that I'm getting off of what's happening right now with the
I
group.
think so.
Anything else that you all want to kind of gear up and bring with you?
Not Jet. Jewel has the lawn dart, oh, a lawn dart and the javelin, right?
You have combined the lawn dart and javelin into one, was what I was thinking. So it makes your javelin, again, like it can give your javelin any one of the mods that you think is most appropriate.
I think like looking at
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Mode putting together these bombs with like very little experience. Well, decent experience in not doing this. So the most experience out of all of you, but still, like locked in and making these, and you realize that you have an extra lawn dart. You manifested too many, so you hand one to Jewel, who just kind of stares at it and doesn't really know what to do with it, and then just like duct tapes a couple of nails to the end of it.
Yep, she
Like
makes it
Aaron is
pointier.
doing full science. You're duct taping nails onto a lawn dart, and
Mm-hmm.
Roach is in the back just like putting on gardening gloves and like going through your parents' stuff.
Yep. And
And you
she
don't
normally
notice.
would have a problem with that, but she doesn't want to die. So,
It's a really strong motivation, not
yeah,
dying.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh so with that, anything else?
Having made three, I'm going to go ahead and give one of the lawn dart bombs to each of us.
Nice. I will say that depending on what you're planning on doing with them, if you're planning on throwing them, it will be a coordination roll to throw. So while I love the teamwork of giving one to everyone, if someone's coordination is like a one, they might not be the best at throwing bombs.
Okay, he's going to offer.
Yeah.
Jewel has a 5 in
Um,
coordination.
Aaron's got a 6.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, she's more of a gross
Yeah.
motor skill than a fine motor skill person.
This coordination is 3, so
Yeah,
in
keep them,
a
Aaron.
savage brain cell moment, just gonna slide it right back there and at least like sneak it into his pocket or something.
Yeah,
Okay,
you keep
so
those, Aaron.
all right.
You can even have this pointier one.
I mean, the other option, if you don't want to throw, like you don't have to throw them just because they're explosives. Uh, you could try and set them up to like detonate in a different way. Often, the way you might like try to incorporate explosives into a trap, you do know that this monster is kind of stationary, which is another kind of a weakness for it. Like it's growing, as in it's getting bigger, but it doesn't seem like it can really move or like walk around because it's a plant. Uh, which means you know where it is and you know where it's going to be, and it would be pretty easy to stand there and just chuck a bunch of explosives at it. So it's probably the easiest method of doing it, but you could roll the explosive along the ground technically if you didn't want to like roll coordination. Just if someone really wants to use a bomb but doesn't have the skills for it. But we're gonna move on to the next scene if everyone is done wrapping up their crafting. And you're leaving the garage. I'm assuming based on what everyone has said that you're just gonna go try and find your way down into the sewer. Like that's the plan. Head straight down. Cool. Uh as the one person who hasn't done this yet, Chanelise, would you roll me a d6 please?
Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna roll the big green one. Did I lose it? No, it's right here. A 5.
Yay, someone rolled higher so I can do actually cool stuff.
Oh no!
Um as you are walking, I'm assuming you're walking. You're not taking, are you taking a car? Are
Oh,
you just like,
they're jogging. They're
yeah,
heading
you're
out to
jogging.
exercise. Yeah.
So as you're going along the street, all of a sudden, Jewel, you can't see anything in front of you. Like you are just in darkness. And you realize that it's like your eyes kind of adjust and it's like not full darkness. It's like got a little bit of a green tinge to it. Uh but it just suddenly comes on that your vision goes dark. You still like feel, it's like you still feel like you can move, you still feel like you're in space as normal, but it's just dark. And for those around, if you happen to be looking at Jewel, uh you can see the movement behind her face.
Jewel hits the brakes, and her breathing starts to pick up a little bit. She starts to kind of her hands in front of her, backs up a little bit, just kind of like, oh, no, 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 no. Like I don't know how to how to describe. It's a sound that I'm looking for that I can't. There's a name for it. Like when you just kind of haltingly almost talk, but then you don't. I don't know. She does that. She's kind of panicking.
And it only lasts about a minute again, but a minute of your vision being dark is a minute of your vision being dark. So
That
that is a
feels like a
significant,
nightmare.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
significant period of time.
I think she's reaching out to where she last
Mm.
saw Aaron and Roach, and like she's desperately grabbing for you.
Yeah, Aaron's gonna grab your hand back.
Her eyes do look relatively normal. Like you don't know exactly what's happening to her because nothing's happening to the two of you.
I can't see.
Hey, whoa, hey. You good?
I can't see. It's just green. I can't see.
Okay.
Can you
Just
see?
I know. Yeah, I can see. You can't, so just calm down first of all.
Am I still
Just
here?
You're
you're
still
not
here.
dead,
You're still
so
here.
yeah.
Okay, she starts trying to like force herself to breathe normally and wait for it to pass.
Yeah. And again, it
You're
does
not going
after.
anywhere.
Yeah, it
I think
passes after about
she
a
starts
minute.
crying a little bit. Yeah, she's freaked out.
Come on, we're gonna take care of it. Let's just get out of here, all right?
Okay.
Make sure you
Okay.
stomp on a good leaf. Maybe get some chloroform or whatever out that we learned in biology. It's gonna be okay.
Stomp on a good leaf?
Yeah, it's a
Sorry, I just saw the caption come up. You know when you say something but you don't register you said it? What does that mean, Roach?
I know what I meant. I don't know about you and your comprehension skills. It's fine.
And I think she really is in character laughing because she's at that like that teeter totter of high emotionality. I don't know that like
See,
she was
everything's
just
funny now.
crying. Yeah, so now everything's funny.
All right. You're able to kind of shake it off. It is weird whatever's happening to you, but you're making your way to deal with this problem. You find a way into the sewer. You're able to find, yeah, exactly what you were looking for and remove this is me jumping over this cuz I don't know how you get into the sewer. Uh you make your way down into the sewer and you can remember the direction where you came from. I'm assuming you're spraying yourself down with stuff before you get in here so you smell less like people. And you make your way toward the cave where you remember the creature being. And this is where we're going to pause for a brief 5-minute break before we come back for some combat. So take a break, get some snacks, get some water, and we'll be back in 5. What's funny is that I know too that the captions catch the last thing we were talking about before we went back to being live, so I'm sure that was on the screen. We're back, and
For
we
like
had
a
a
fraction of a
totally,
second.
totally fine break. We are entering into combat. I'm assuming. Unless there's anything anyone else wants to do, and assuming my audio's working.
Oh yeah, it's working. I was
It's
making
working
a
great.
sorry, I was making a face. I'm sorry. It's because like Edge was like, you have to clear your cache. I was like, why?
Okay. Unrelated to our tech problems
Yeah.
face. I'm gonna take a second before we really get back into the narrative to explain how combat works. There is no initiative in Emergent. Combat works by having a enemy phase, player phase, enemy phase, player phase. Unless you get the drop on the monster and surprise it, which we'll find out how that goes when we get back into the narrative. I'm gonna hold up the nice little picture because our rule book looks cool. It's probably hard to read, but you can see the little alternations of the colors as it goes back and forth between phases. Um, the monster has a certain amount of actions, and you have a certain amount of actions. So you, as an individual, have 2 actions per round. Each one of your characters can do 2 things. That could be move and attack, it could be attack twice, it could be move twice. There's other things you can do during combat, but move and attack are probably going to be the main ones that you're going to want to do. Or use a power. Your power will tell you how many actions it takes to activate. So that's going to be individual for each one of you. During each player phase, 4 actions can be taken. So one person can take 2 actions, and another person can take 2 actions. One person can take 2 actions, and the other of you can take one each. Uh, that's combined working together. There's no initiative. You decide who is gonna act in what order. Then it will go back to the monster, and then it will go back to the players. Anyone who has not used both of their actions will get to act, and then it will go back up to the top of the round and restart. Um, and that's combat. So you will be keeping track of things on your powers that will say, it lasts for 1 round, or 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a round in terms of how long different things last.
Boom.
So he does not. Um, Actually, if
Yeah.
Okay. One peek around with.
Okay. Yeah, you were able to peek into the room. It looks exactly like you remember, except that you did get here early enough that there are no people in the room yet. It is dark and it is getting into the night hours, so you know that you don't have a whole ton of time before civilians start showing up. Speaking of casualties, like we mentioned earlier, could happen. So you do have, you know you're on a bit of a time limit.
Okay, so he's gonna whisper what he's seeing to the other two. Anybody have a plan?
I thought we were just blowing it up. Also, why are we whispering? It can't hear us. It has eyes, not ears.
Can it not hear us?
Can plants hear you?
There's this like thing where I think I saw that if you said really nice things to like one plant, the plant grew better, and then if you said mean things to another one, they didn't. Was that ice or plants? I don't actually remember.
Some people sing to their plants and swear that that helps them grow.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What if we
We're gonna
sang
die.
to this one? Hmm.
I think you should go
Okay, all
for it.
right, all
Just
right.
straight
I
karaoke
will.
with the plant.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a first stab at this thing. Um, and this may be completely and utterly wasted because we don't actually know if its eyes have the same weaknesses that other eyes do. Um, Aaron's thinking about this creature with all those damn eyes. Um, there in that very dark space. And it takes him back to his last eye exam. One of the things um, that his power Deus Ex Machina can do is create like it can create quote anything, not really anything, but one of the options is people like like a troop of soldiers or something. They are not individually unique; they're generic, but they, you can have soldiers as opposed to like humanoids. So around this creature, there are suddenly as many as will fit in a 10 by 10 foot cube.
Mhm.
Um, all these people in long white coats, some with cardigans, every single one of them with that awful little device with the world's brightest light on it. And they're going to each one open an eyelid and shine that bright light straight on in and check out every one of this thing's retinas.
Okay. Um yeah, there's not a specific mechanic for what that does, but I love it. It's not gonna take damage, but it's gonna take a condition. I think I know which one, but I am gonna consult the list just to be sure that it is correct. Um,
I know blinded is an option.
yeah, blinded is what I was thinking, and I wanted to see if there was anything better, but blinded is, yeah. I'm actually gonna give it two, I think, because blinded is helpful, but not really. Because blinded basically just means it can't see you, which it knows that you're there and it can actually sense you through different ways. Fun fact. So I'm
Yep.
also going to give it a daze token uh from this because it that what you did was very sudden and out of nowhere, and you're also exposing it to, it's a lot of little lights, but it's a lot of little lights all around it. So I'm also going to say that you have the creature in bright. We're gonna say you have it in bright light. That was cool. You deserve to have it in bright light. Um, which is just gonna make it harder for it to act. Is that one action on your part or two to do that?
That takes 2 actions.
Okay. So yeah, you've used your actions for the round. But you've given the monster a couple of different conditions and set up the way for your friends to go. So, there's two actions left. Either one person can take both of their actions, or you can each take one.
This monster's in the center of the room, yeah?
It's kind of all around the room, yeah. But
What does that mean?
it's big. It's really big. It's kind of everywhere.
It's like in piles like laundry?
It's like just one big creature. It like takes up most of the room.
Oh no. Okay, so it's like almost touching the walls?
Yeah. Like
Ew.
there's room for you to enter the room, but not much more than that. If you're gonna try
Oh.
and throw explosives at it, you don't want to be in the room with it.
Yeah, no. I thought we were like entering an arena, but let's just put the explosive on the ground and then close the door and walk away.
Just roll the explosives in and shut the door and run.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's a method, and then we just take care of what's left, if anything.
Yeah, and nobody's in there yet,
Bowling ball
so
3.
That is a method.
I
You could
don't
just
know.
roll two bombs in there and see what happens.
It's distracted. We should do that right now. So who has the bombs?
I
Aaron,
think
I
you
believe.
gave them
Yeah.
back
Mm-hmm.
to me, but I've
Yeah.
got them where you can get at them. I don't have any actions, but
Yeah, you
some
can
of you do.
snatch them and
Yeah, I think Jet. I gotta stop making athletes whose names begin with J. Jewel takes one of the bombs and just kind of like underhand chucks it into the door, kind of like a softball throw. Lights it first. Does it need to be lit? She does what it needs to do to be bombable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, again, I did say it is coordination to use the bombs, but as I'm thinking about the scenario, it's almost impossible for your like if you're just kind
Yeah.
of rolling it into the room, it's almost impossible for it to not hit this thing. It would be harder to miss than it would be to hit, given how this monster is set up, which is kind of another one of its weaknesses. Like I said, it's stationary and big. It's a nice, easy target for you all.
It's a big Brussels
Uh,
sprout.
hmm?
It's a big Brussels sprout.
It's a big, that's what you're fighting. It's a big Brussels sprout.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to, it can be multiple of you, can go ahead and roll me. I believe it's gonna be 4d6 total
Oh.
for the damage from this, because each explosive is 2d6.
Wait.
Correct.
What?
2d6. So yeah. So
So each person is rolling 4?
total, I need the result of 4d6. Anyone can roll them
Oh, so we're
who
reading
wants to roll
2
them.
each.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just roll 2 because I'm only
Yeah. So
rolling
you
one
can roll
bomb.
2 and then someone else can roll 2.
I got a 2 and a 1.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's crazy. Me too.
Oh wow!
okay, well that's rolling for damage.
Oh, not want to roll low this
So you
time.
don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
roll low
yeah.
on.
Gosh darn it!
So that's,
The only time we cooperate.
Gosh
not
darn dice. The dice are
The
confused because they don't know if they need to be rolling high or low. They don't know what to
um
do.
you know what? I'm not even gonna have the because partly because you rolled low. The monster would normally get to roll to avoid damage, but
Mm.
it's so disoriented and distracted from all the lights, and this is so sudden that this just happens in like a manner of seconds. You roll the bombs in, the bombs go off, and bright light flashes through the room because the bombs are flash. So a bright explosion goes off. A bunch of pesticide also covers and rains down on the monster. It looks like the pesticide does more damage than the explosions did, seeing that you rolled a combined 6 damage on 4d6. Um, so unfortunately, I don't think you've heard it all that much. Um, and it's now the monster's turn. Um, so it was taking a nice little nap. It was having a great time. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of bright lights got shown in its face. And I am going to say that the light intensity in the room is now intense light, given the fact that you have the lots of little lights and 2 very big lights. So it is quite bright in here. It's honestly not a whole lot that the monster can do because of how bright it is in here. Um, no, it's gonna do one thing and one thing only. Because you're still kind of outside, it can't even really get to you or reach you. I lied. It's gonna do 2 things. The first thing is you look in through the you look in through the doors and you see those little kind of like black nodule node like things on it start puffing out spores. It turns into a spore factory and it starts puffing spores out into the air. The second thing is, could everyone go ahead and make me a D8 fortitude check? I will roll for creature. Okay, failure.
3 under 5.
Okay, 2 degrees. The
Uh,
monster.
5 under 6.
5 6. Okay. This is now we are now in opposed rolls. So the monster is rolling and you are all rolling. Um, the monster rolled 2 degrees of success, and ties go to the attacker. So I think all of you fail this. Um,
No.
you you realize in kind of a split second that even though the monster can't physically reach you, it's already infected you, and that is going to make this a little bit more challenging. So you all kind of feel things moving underneath your skin. Actually, this is I think the first time you've actually really noticeably felt the movement. Every other time you've noticed it in one of your friends. This is worse. Uh you feel the movement underneath your arms, underneath your face, and for a moment you're you're like not quite sure where you are or who you are. Like it's this very interesting turn where first there's the horror of like you feel these things moving, and then it's fine cuz you're not really sure what's going on, and you shouldn't resist the spores under your skin because you're just a plant. You're just a little plant and you just want to grow and reach the sun. And that only lasts for a second. But you have this very kind of disorienting moment before being snapped back into reality. And the snap back is arguably worse because you realize that for a second you didn't feel like yourself and you didn't know who you were and you just kind of felt like a plant. I don't exactly know what feeling like a plant feels like. It was probably pretty pleasant for a moment. You had no worries. Plants don't have anxiety. Maybe. I'm actually not a plant expert. Maybe they do have anxiety. You didn't for a moment. You had a nice little calm moment of peace, and then you are snapped back to what the fuck just happened to me. Um, you're all going to take 4 internal damage from these things kind of like moving and raking under your skin. Um, except I do believe Roach, you have something with internal damage. I don't know if you can take internal damage. You either can't take it or you have
You're
resistance to
right.
it.
I
Yeah.
resist 2 internal
Okay.
damage.
So you take 2, so you still take a little bit. Um, but you have the added realization along with everyone else. You're like, that's I think that the first thing that pops into your mind is like, that's right, I'm not a plant. But it's also I'll leave it up to you because it's your character. I think it's like I'm not a plant, I'm a doll, given the name of the power. Like or I'm not a plant, I'm plastic. Like something else pops into your mind other than I'm a person at first. And then you're like, wait,
Mhm,
am I a person? And you can have that internal crisis on your own. Because you picked the I'm not a
mhm.
person power. Uh,
Yeah.
and I want to remind you of that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. Like, that's right, I'm made of plastic. Wait
Minus
a second, I'm
360.
made of plastic? Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Can we just take care of this thing, please? Please, please.
And it is back to your turn. So Jewel and Roach, you each have an action.
Jewel is definitely screaming, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Um, let's see.
You do have another bomb.
Just one more, eh?
Yeah. Those bombs are not gonna be as useful as I was hoping they would be.
No.
Unless you roll double sixes on your next D6, who knows?
What status does the bomb roll with? It's just regular? Oh, because we like it's just putting a bomb in a bucket. It's fine, right?
Yeah. I'm not making you roll for bomb. I'm just kind of letting you roll them in there, and then you're rolling for damage. Explosives are one of the only things in this game that roll for their damage.
I don't think Jewel wants to throw a bomb. I think she's going to. I think right now she's not using an action to do this, but right now she's just screaming, "Kill it, kill it, kill it." She's gonna wait for somebody else to throw a bomb, and then she wants to. Um, so the javelin is it's a medium thrown weapon, but she can at will decide to make it melee, right? Melee.
Yeah, if you want to use it as melee instead of thrown, yeah, you can stab instead of throw.
Okay. I think no, I think she doesn't wait. I think she just chucks it, and then in her next turn, depending on what happens, she's thinking of going in and grabbing it and then stabbing it again.
Okay.
But she's gonna, yeah. So this her action is gonna be throwing the javelin at one of the nodes, one of the black
Mhm.
nodes. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to see if Roach is gonna do bomb first?
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I think the bomb would throw her off her game, so I think she's gonna just scream for a little bit first.
Okay, so
All right, I get the bomb.
yeah. Okay. So Roach, you're gonna go bomb. Roll me 2d6 for damage.
Oh, I was like, where's my cauldron of D6s? Um, I did find my ever trusty bone dice. There's only 3, so
Bone
bone dice.
dice.
Roll them bones.
Bone
Yeah.
dice. Bone
Ooh.
dice.
Okay, that's hot. So far that is 2 4s and a 6. And I roll one more, so that is
Oh,
14.
the bomb
And
you only have one more bomb. So the 4d6 was because there were 2 bombs. So this is
oh,
only
okay. So
2d6. But
So
I'll let
just
you
take
take
the
the
that's
two
10.
sixes.
6 and you get the 6 and the 6 and the 4. So 10
Yeah.
total. Okay, that's better. Um Okay. Tracking health. And actually, again, you do see that it seems like, mechanically speaking, when you are activating a monster weakness, it does double damage. And this one was pretty intuitive. It's a plant. You're killing it with pesticide. So you are actually doing a little bit more than just explosive damage because it is full of pesticide and it deals half of its damage as elemental type pesticide, which in mechanical terms is either toxic or corrosive. Um, I can't remember which. Those words sound the same to me. I've had a long day.
I think toxic makes you sick and corrosive makes you itchy. It
Yeah.
like
I
takes the
think corrosive
outside
is
off
more
you.
I think pesticide makes you sick if you eat it, but it makes you itchy if it gets on your skin.
Yeah, it takes the outside off you.
It does take the outside off of you. You're taking the outside off of the plant, so you're doing
Yeah.
corrosive damage to it. We solved it. Um okay, so bomb thrown, you're throwing the javelin.
Yeah, she's
Or
gonna she's screaming and then she's gonna just yeet it with rage.
okay, scream and yeet. Go ahead and roll me that d8.
D8. That's a 4 under what's that? Coordination?
Coordination.
It's 4 under 5.
Okay, the monster does get to try to resist. And this game is the death of me. There's far too much math in it, and I am both gay and have dyscalculia, so I math bad.
Mm.
Uh the monster does get 4 degrees of success, so that is more than what you got. Which means in this game, instead of a full miss, you do what's called a graze. So, especially with a monster this big, it's hard to miss. So, your weapon grazes past the monster. That allows you to do one of 3 things. One is you gain a token for yourself, and a evasion token. That's the right word. You gain it's my brain went. You gain an evasion token, and then I lost the word evade. You get an evasion token. I said it correctly, and I know how words work. I should stream late at night more often. um, which means that you can get advantage on a block or dodge roll at a later time. You can spend it to give yourself advantage. You could also give it to one of your friends, and you could spend the token to disengage as a free action. So similar to some other systems, if you're engaged with the creature, you take an attack of opportunity when you're leaving, unless you spend an evasion token. Um, the other option, if you just want to deal damage, is you could deal your precision damage instead of your weapon damage. So it's not normally a lot of damage, but it does let you deal a couple points of damage if you're really just like trying to kill it, which I do think is kind of Jules' main aim at the moment is just kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Um,
Yeah. I think she accidentally spikes it a little bit and like gets the bottom of it, not like in the middle, like not in center mass like she was aiming, but she like cuz she releases too late. And so the
mhm.
javelin like leaves her hand at the bottom of its arc, so it kind of goes think onto the like into the just a margin of like the footprint of this thing into the ground. And kind of like skitters backwards because it hit impermeable ground, and I'll take that precision. I don't know what is that a stat?
That is one of the big stats on the top of your sheet. It is
Ah, true. 3.
equal to your finesse. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna do
Finesse? Yeah,
3
3.
points of damage. So yeah, so not a lot, but it still lets you do a little bit of damage if that is your main aim.
Mhm.
Okay, and I believe that is everyone's action. So we cycle back to the monster. Who do we think is closest to the doors?
I would say Jewel cuz she just well, how wide is the door?
I'm imagining it as like a double door, so there's 2 of them.
Uh-huh.
So pretty wide. You could all be standing in the doorway, right next to each other in the same spot. In which case, I'll roll for it and make this random.
I think Jewel since it's wide, I don't think she would have to be in front of everybody to safely throw the
Mhm.
javelin. So I think maybe they're all equidistant,
Oh,
unless
yeah.
someone else has something else to say. about it.
Yeah, I can make this random. Uh, okay. That is Roach. Go ahead and roll me block or dodge.
I'm reading a lot of words at once.
Go ahead and roll me reflex or strike. Those are the actual
Okay.
stats.
Okay. And it's a D8.
Yeah. Everything for the combat will be a d8. And the monster's gonna roll to try and hit you. The
Okay.
monster's rolling at a penalty, but unfortunately it's rolling very well.
That is an 8/6.
Okay. Wait, you rolled an 8? Or you rolled a
Yes.
6? Okay, you rolled an 8. Okay, so that's a failure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're standing outside the doors, and it's slow because you get the feeling that this thing, like, doesn't have a lot of movement capability because it is stationary, but you realize that it has some, as you don't quite see this happen, and I think that's especially on the fail. Like, a arm a vine, tendril arm, has wrapped around Roach's feet and is attempting to pull you prone and start to drag you inside. And on a failure, you are knocked down to the ground, slamming your head back into the ground, which doesn't do a lot of damage to you. It does. Let me make sure. Um, yeah, you go ahead and take 3 physical damage. And the problem is you're being pulled inside and it still has more actions left. It's trying to like fully pull Roach into itself. Like you're just being pulled into the plant. Um and you can roll to try and break out of or resist, but it's gonna roll to try and like wrap even more vines around you. So for this, you can roll me strength for this
All right.
because you're essentially grappled now.
So is that tenacity? Oh no, that's strength. I see strength
Strength
under
specifically, yeah, yeah,
tenacity. Yeah.
yeah. It's under tenacity, and I rolled a 1 again. So uh,
Well, luckily, I rolled a 2 under 5, so 3
to 3.
successes. Yeah.
The monster got 7 successes. Uh, it
All
is
right, not as
actually
bad.
quite strong. Um, so you're gonna go ahead and from this take 5 points of damage as the vines are rapid, like just they wrap up your legs and up your body, and they do start to kind of crush you a little bit. You are also taking the restrained condition, which means that you cannot do anything else other than try to break out of being restrained. Um, is it restrained or immobile? Yeah. You cannot take any physical actions other than attempting to attack or break out of the thing restraining you. Attacks made against you has advantage to hit. As an action, you can make an opposed strength or agility roll on the thing restraining you, and on a success, you break free. And friends who are nearby can make this roll in your place to try to break you out. But your friends aren't nearby. Your friends are in the door, and you have been taken a movement band away from them. We're not going to get super in detail into movement, but no one is adjacent to you right now. So you all watch as Roach just gets yoinked. Roach just like literally gets the rug pulled out underneath it and is dragged across the floor towards the main point of mass of this creature. And that's all it's going to do before going back to you. So anyone can act next.
Okay, so on the first round, I blinded it.
Mhm.
How long?
10 seconds, I believe. It can see you using the spores. It does not actually see you using eyes. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like the blinded itself doesn't really do anything. Um,
And it's not moving either. Okay.
yeah. It
Yeah.
did have a -1 penalty to that roll, but it rolled a 1. So
Yeah.
the -1 penalty was not super helpful for that exact moment, unfortunately. Um, yeah.
I
Even if
think
it did take the blinded,
uh,
it only gives it a -2 and it still would have gotten that from the blinded penalty. What are you thinking for Jewel?
I'm thinking Jewel might take that vicious lawn dart in a hand and try hacking at the tendrils to try to free
Mm,
Roach.
okay, okay. So you're gonna run in and start just stabbing at it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is a melee. Go ahead and roll strike.
Strike is rolling with a D8.
Yes. I'm gonna roll a different dice.
Yes! A 1 under 3.
Nice, nice. My goodness. Okay, hang on. Let me apply. There's still some penalties here. I rolled a different dice, and the different dice also rolled a 1. Normally, I roll trash when I'm playing monsters.
Oh.
Uh, okay. So it has -2 to this, but it still got 5 degrees.
Oh no.
Uh, again, you can graze, you can do your 3 damage to it. Uh, but it seems like it's pretty tough. Uh,
Hmm. So the evade token would if could that be given to Roach to get out of the
not to get
grapple?
once you were restrained, you do have to
Okay.
break that restrain.
Then damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You damage it a bit. You're hacking at it, but it's pretty tough. Like the vines, you've never really encountered the surface of this creature before. It's like hard to pierce through.
Hmm.
It's very tough.
Um I th- I
And you
th-
do okay, go.
Okay, I'll take. This uh, uh,
Okay.
strength.
again, the math learning disorder that also makes me mix up numbers in my brain. But it wouldn't be 07, or would it? Now I feel like I just am making things up. What did it say? Maybe our book lies. Does our book lie? Or can I just not? No, it's right here. It's right in front of my face. I can't read. Uh, okay, flexibility. Um, yes, if you want to spend 2 of your flexibility, if you have 2 flexibility on your sheet, you can re-roll an attack. If you would like to try and hit this.
I would.
Which is something I'm offering because I know it's a power use, and I don't re-roll, just you, so you still have to just beat that 1 degree of success. Um,
Okay. Yes, and exactly. A 5
okay,
under 6.
amazing. Then yes, ties go to the attacker, so that does 5 physical and 1
Toxic.
toxic. Okay. You can tell that you are definitely wearing this thing down little by little, bit by bit, piece by piece. But so far, nothing you have done has done nearly as much to it as the pesticide. It seemed like pouring the pesticide on it was really like the thing that got it. And I do believe you are out of pesticide, correct? Or did Aaron have
Um,
any extra in like a spray bottle or something?
I mean, he got a whole jug, and we used, enough for 3 explosives. So you tell me.
um, I don't know if you. You have a little bit left if we want to say you have a little bit left. Enough for maybe 1 use of something else fun. Partly just because those first 2 bombs did very bad.
Okay.
So, as a treat, as a gift, you can have a little pesticide. Why not? Just a little.
I think we've had 2 actions, so it has a phase.
We've had
Or
3, or no, we've had that. Well, yeah, we had 4 because we're just attacked. So it is the monster's turn. Um, let's see. I think it's going to try. There we go. No. Now I roll a 10. It's gonna do jack shit at first. It's gonna try that again. It was going to try to command all of the spores in the air to coalesce and form a creature in front of you. Um, but that apparently doesn't happen. There we go. Okay. It got 2 degrees of success. So it's going to form its spores into a spore creature. Here's why it fails. It forms the spores into fly right at Jewel, since you're right there, and attempt to go into you. You're getting a nose and mouth full of spores. You can roll block or dodge, and you have to beat 2
Oh
degrees.
boy, block or dodge. Oh, and
Reflex or strike.
I think my reflex is better, but let me check. Oh, that's not the right page. My strength is 2. My reflex is 5, and it's a D8. 8. Boo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You get a mouthful of spores,
Damn
which
it.
is nasty and gross, and you're gonna go ahead and take 5 internal damage from that.
Yeah.
And you also are going to take. Let me make sure I say the There's a lot of conditions that start with the letter D. Dazed, disoriented. Uh, Maybe it's just those two, and I just get those two confused. So let me make sure I say the correct one. Um, Assuming I can find the conditions list. Conditions. Drained is the other one. But no, you're taking the dazed condition, which is a -1 penalty to all mind rolls. So you are at dazed 1, and those only go away after you get sleep. Um,
Oh.
so you have a -1 penalty to all mind rolls for probably the duration of the combat, unless you decide to take a nap right now. However, that is its turn, and it is on to Aaron.
Okay.
Got 2 actions and a little bit of pesticide.
Yep. Is it safe to assume that we have our starting equipment with us, that stuff that makes
Yes.
sense
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
even
stuff that
if we
makes
didn't
sense. You don't
mention?
have a car with you down here if you had a car.
Okay.
Um,
But I do have my hunting bow.
mhm.
So I'm going to take one of the arrows for the hunting bow. I assume they go together. I'm going to swish it around in the jug, make it poisoned arrow, and shoof. See how this works. I'm assuming
Okay.
that's one action to poison it and one action to.
No, poisoning it is would be a quick action or a use action, which is you get 1 free one of those per time.
Okay.
And I'll actually say you can dunk a couple in there at once,
Okay.
so that you have multiple with 1 free action. Um, and yeah, are you aiming for anywhere in particular?
Um, those eyes still creep Aaron out, so he
Mm,
is aiming for an eye.
okay, okay, go for it.
Mother always said he put somebody's eye out. It's about time.
Go shoot your
Um,
eye out, kid.
so rolling a d10, yes,
D8
even in combat.
for this. It should be, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we've been rolling.
Okay.
Uh,
All
or
right.
this monster might have been supposed to be more difficult, but it is easier because we are running a little bit short on time.
Okay.
Mm.
All right.
And I didn't
So
level you guys as much as I was intending. I rolled a
rolling my
10, so this is gonna
d8.
work unless you miss.
Perception.
Mm. Mhm.
So that is a 4 under 8.
Then that works. How much damage does that do?
It does 9 plus whatever you'd like the poison to do.
Yeah, the poison doubles it, so it does
Woohoo!
18. Uh, it doesn't like that pesticide. And then you have 1 more action. What are you going to do with it?
If you let me do all of that in one action, I'm going to go ahead and do it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I'm saying it's like it was a quick action to kind of dunk multiple arrows in there,
Mhm.
and then it's 1 action to shoot and 1 action to shoot again. I will roll again, and you can roll again. Okay,
That is a 3 under 8 for a crit.
okay. And that is a failure on my part again. I saved all the failures for the end of the combat.
Very thoughtful.
Um, yeah. So on a
Very
crit,
dramatic.
I'm assuming you're gonna do extra damage to it.
Oh yeah.
Um, so you can deal your precision damage on top of the regular damage that you're doing. Making that, what would the total be for that?
Precision damage is the number across the top of the sheet.
Yes, the number that is
Okay.
precision.
So 9 for the weapon plus 3 for precision. So
Okay,
12
12
doubled by
doubled.
the
It's a very
precision.
strong arrow that you've got there. Um, you dip the arrow in the pesticide and send it flying into one of the eyes, just right dead center on this monster. And you watch as the arrow goes directly through the eye, and like it doesn't stop, it just keeps going into this creature, like it just pierces all the way through, and gets stuck presumably somewhere in the middle of all of the plant. And you watch as the plant starts to like die, like it starts to change color and wilt and turn brown, and it releases this awful smell as it does so. But you watch it just sort of wilt away, and then it, like when a leaf crumbles, it starts to crumble like a leaf and just crumble away into nothing. And the arrow drops to the ground in the center of the room as the creature is just gone.
I knew there was something to that idea. Uh, he's just kind of standing there, breathing hard, and being astonished by what he's done. He does have a hunting bow, but I think he's previously used it for like target practice. So killing something by apparently shooting it in the brain is I think new. It's going to take a minute.
Jewel cheers and accidentally fires Novas up into the ceiling. She didn't know she could do that.
Okay. That just happened. Um, Great job. I think I have
You
some identity to deal with.
you all feel like you need to sneeze, kind of like you all feel kind of like a sneeze coming on, and you all like in tandem, like in sync, like sneeze, and it's kind of gross and green as you sneeze out the spores that were inside your body. So they're gone now. You probably won't die. You should be fine. Uh
Life sneezing, life. I can't talk. Life saving sneezes. That's what all I wanted to say.
and you were just here together in this large now empty space. What is everyone doing?
Jewel dissociates a little bit.
Classic, yeah.
Ultimately, I think
Uh,
going home and finally getting a decent night's sleep. Uh,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Probably with some very weird dreams about shooting things in the eyes, but still better than a nap.
Roach is walking, doing that long drag nose across the arm and just snuffling and sniffing, getting all the gross noises out before she gets home.
Does Jewel get home at a reasonable time?
No.
No.
No, at least one of your parents, I'll leave it up to you, since they're your NPCs, is like sitting waiting by the door in
Ah.
classic parent fashion. Like, you're home late, young lady.
I think Mrs. Dr. Lynch is scarier than Mr. Dr. Lynch. She's the one that's waiting. So she gets a good talking to about responsibility and stuff. Which is kind of it's not it's healthier than getting yelled at, but it's worse. And she gets she gets into her room because it's time for bed. She does her regular nighttime routine. Um I think to compound the issue, her mom kind of I think she said she's gonna talk up to her dad about it, and I think she kind yeah, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. That's the worst. Um, I think there's some inkling of she can't. I think her like even though she lied to get out of practice, I think because she came home so late, her parents are gonna be watching her like a hawk more, and that's probably gonna come up with her coach in the future just because they're no more sensitive now. So she's gonna get like in super bad trouble. But she goes up into her bedroom and starts doing her routine, and um she just keeps like giggling to herself, but she doesn't want to giggle too loud because she doesn't want her mom or her dad to hear her laughing after she just got grounded. But she's like in near hysterics, like having fought a monster, having been largely really ineffective against it, but then also like watching a classmate be extremely effective against it. Like there's just a lot of variables that have happened. Like she was gonna die and then she sneezed and she wasn't gonna die anymore. That's she can't get over that. Um and when she finally goes to bed, I think she kind of has to put her like head under her pillow as she just like in like weeping laughter, just like she cries herself to sleep, but not in a sad way. She just can't stop giggling. It's like this desperate, almost panicked, hysterical giggling.
Well, if that feels good, I think we're going to leave everyone in bed asleep for the
Um,
most part. Oh, go for it. Go for it.
Aaron actually gets away with it for the evening, um, because down in the sewers, we're starting at a door,
Mhm.
and he now has the new ability to return to any other door that he's used, which includes his bedroom door. So his mom just didn't see him come in last night. That's all. It's fine.
You were there the whole time. Yeah, yeah. Is there any last thing from Roach?
I mean, it's just him and his sister, so it just seems like another long day of him being a delinquent. So he just comes in, crawls right into bed, and just lets the day
Yeah,
be what it was.
yeah. Just closes your eyes and just go right to sleep. Um, Aaron, where'd you leave the book? Did you bring it with you? Did you leave it in your room?
Well, I had it with me when we were at Jules' house, so I
Mhm.
assume I've still got it in one of my bags.
Yeah, got it in a backpack somewhere.
Yep.
Um, you go to sleep, and when you wake up the next morning, the book is not in the bag. It is out on the floor in your room, and there's a little sticky note on the cover of it. Um, and the sticky note says on it, I know this is all very scary, but you did it. You killed your first monster. If you want to know more, seek out the Emergent Underground. And it's just signed with an L. And that's where we're going to leave it. On my one final plot reveal point that the reason why this show is named Emergent Underground is not because the monster was underground, but in fact because of the underground network of emergents that you guys could have interacted with but never found. So
Ah,
you could maybe interact with them in the future if we ever return. But for
yeah.
now, that is where we're going to leave our story, with Aaron getting a little hint of more people just like you are out there. We're going to have everyone go around in reverse order of how we introduced ourselves, say who you are, where you can be found, and any other fun stuff that you have going on. So I believe that, Vin, you were last, so you're now first.
Oh my god. I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on most socials except Blue Sky. That is Vinvox.com. That is also my website, Vinvox.com, because I'm a voice actor and tabletop performer. I've got so much going on. Just follow my socials. If I need to plug anything, that'll be By Night Studios, Darkness Emergent. We are in Atlanta this year, November 6th through 9th at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown. It's gonna be a little swanky. There's only 150 tickets for this event, and then next year we're back in LA. So come pretend to be vampires with me. It's super fun. You don't have to worry about anything except like in character bullshit, which has been an incredible time. So that's me.
I think I went second.
Yes, I saw you smiling. It is indeed you.
Yeah, my name's Chanel Lees. I have been playing Jewel Madison Lynch, the Luminescent, and you can find me everywhere at Chanel Lees. The easiest way to track me down is by going to my link tree, which is linktr.ee/Chanel Lees. It's linked in my Twitch profile. And you can find my streaming schedule that I try my best to keep very updated Most notably, coming up on I think this Wednesday. Yeah, last Wednesday we had the first episode of a two shot. So next Wednesday, the finale of the two shot over at Sword and Key. We're playing a Pride Month themed D&D game called Pride and Wrath. Super cool. Also coming up on Juneteenth, which is a Thursday this year, we've got um a Juneteenth all black performer fundraiser. I'll be in playing City of Mist at 6 p.m., but there's a lot of other games that are coming before and after my game, so definitely check that out. That's over at, as always, Imani's channel. The link is in on the link tree. And then also Nerds with Dice. I am in two streams at for the Pride Month. Bleh, Nerds with Dice charity Pride. There's so many words. Yeah,
Charity
right.
pride thing.
Doing Pride thing. We're playing Girl by Moon Knight and also Wicked Lies and Alibis, and I'm really excited about both of those games because I never played them before, and they seem really rad. So check out my link tree so that you know what I said because I don't.
And hi, I'm Steve. You can find me on the socials at Tall Halfling, sometimes Tall Halfling RPG. You'll find me back here on Nerds with Dice on the 21st, playing Songs for the Dusk, a little bit of post-apocalyptic chicanery. On the 27th, I'll be running a game of Magical Kitties Save the World over at part of the Meowathon fundraiser marathon that raises money for a uh, a shelter that takes care of cats. Um, but the thing I'm most psyched about is that I'm recently, about a month ago now, launched my first role playing game, which is called Insomnia. It's over on Drive Through RPG, all about shared dreams and lucid dreams and all kinds of weirdness. But tonight, I was Aaron, um, your your crafter paracosm juvenile delinquent who is not going to mention to anybody that he has a library book that he's not taking back.
Baby.
Thank you everyone for playing and for being here. My name's Quinn. I use any and all pronouns, and you can find me on Blue Sky and Blue Sky only at Quinn Beckham27. Similar to everyone else, I have a lot of things going on this month. It is Pride. We have to be gay on every channel. Uh, I will also be back here on Nerds with Dice, playing in something on the morning of Saturday the 21st. I will be playing in a Wanderhome game run by Okami. They are an amazing GM who runs House of Dreams, which is also doing a Pride Month charity event where they are running Wanderhome all throughout the month. And then a bunch of different Wanderhome interludes. I also don't know what I'm saying. Words are fake, and so is everything else. So you should follow along. It's late. Don't look at me. Uh, you should follow along with that. House of Dreams is collaborating with Pocket Dragon Pub for their charity event this month, and I will be running something also on Saturday the 21st. I'm running Cyberpunk Red over on the Pocket Dragon Pub, and then the next day on the 22nd, I'm back on Nerds with Dice running a all ace thirsty sword lesbian game, which I am very very excited about. And then I'm going out of town for the end of Pride to go and be gay in person. So then I will be back doing things probably in July. We've been playing this game, Emergent. My name's in this book, and so are many of my friends because they wrote it. And I helped and worked on it for many, many, many years. Not really, 2.5. That's a lot of time. It's a big book. And it is available on itch and drive through RPG, and you might already own it because it was part of the trans rights bundle, and you should download it, play it, tell us what you think about it. We had a lot of fun writing it. I always have a lot of fun playing it, and that's everything I can possibly think to say. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this Emergent 3-shot. Um, we may be back with part 2 maybe some point or never. So if you liked it and you want more, let us know. And that is too many words for me already, so let's end the stream before I keep talking. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye bye.